Alright, so I don't know about you guys, but I very rarely go on Twitter, especially as a quote-unquote Western VTuber, because more often than not on Twitter, on X, more often than not, the biggest trends are always something dumb, right? It's either some drama about, oh, did you hear what Sally said about Billy? But Billy said that Christopher did this to her, and oh my goodness, I can't believe it. And a bunch of stuff like that, right? Which is sort of whatever. I don't like it. It's either that or it's the subtle, yet sometimes also not so subtle, very open lewd baiting of tweets such as this one over here from a Japanese VTuber that sort of did the rounds, as you can see. I'll just let you see here. But I mean, yeah, it's the medium of choice. You can do what you want to do. However, I do think that one of the first and probably the best sort of trends to come out of VTubers has just happened this past week. Now, to set some ground rules or for some context for those of you who may not know, VTubers typically have these sort of fancy looking logos, as you would see here. Normally, obviously, it shows off their name and has some motifs for them, like Gargura, a shark girl from Atlantis, so it has a trident and a lot of shark-themed things in her logo. Very cute, very whimsical, very fun, as is what VTubers should be, a nice, fun escape from reality. The reality, which is corporate logos looking like absolute scum over here. I don't know why. Maybe it's, I mean, they probably say it's to make it more recognizable, you know, less noise going around. But I mean, if you look at stuff like Weight Watchers here, at least you know the name of the company here with Weight Watchers. I would not have known what this was if I just saw this one on the right here, right? But that is just to say that basically corporate logos suck. Well, one Twitter user decided to take this on and say, you know what? I see these corporate logos and I see room for improvement. And improvements they did. Because here is Aisu Asai, who took Pizza Hut and made it a nice, whimsical, and very fun here. They kept everything the same, right? Obviously, you still have the name, Pizza Hut, but they also included the little pizza slices, some mushrooms on the side, and even the hat on top. And yeah, this tweet took off, right? 12.8 million views, a lot of people liked it. And yeah, who wouldn't like it, right? It's just a straight up upgrade to Pizza Hut. I mean, if I could maybe make an argument, maybe it's a bit desaturated, maybe bump up the colors. But I mean, I'm not a graphics designer. I wouldn't know any better, right? But also, I mean, in all honesty, like Pizza Hut's logo isn't that bad. Like, yes, obviously, it did get a bit simplified, but I mean, still, it has a nice little like whimsical feel to it, right? At least it's not just generic font pasted in a line, right? But that's not all though. Pizza Hut is not the only logo that was done. We've got Jack in the Box here. I mean, very play on the words here, a Jack in the Box, of course. But wait, there's more. You also have Pinterest. Honestly, it looks great, even considering the typo, which I did not realize at first. And I mean, with how some logos are going these days, you never know. Maybe removing out a letter is actually like the go-to thing. Maybe they might actually do that themselves anyway, right? And how about some more? We got TikTok here as well. Essentially, the big theme is, you know, incorporating different parts of TikTok itself or the company itself. Like you see here, the comment, the follow, I think that is, the like and the share button and all that stuff, right? These were all done by Aisu Asai, of course, but this started a big trend of everybody else deciding to throw in the hat. Like, I think in the VTuber community, there are a lot of creatives, a lot of designers, a lot of graphic artists as well. And so everybody saw this and thought, you know what, let me throw in my own hat. For example, here we have somebody else, Artemis, who did a Blockbuster one here. I mean, who knows? Maybe if they had this as their logo, they wouldn't have gone under. They might still be around. Who knows? Or Siri, who went absolutely ham, making a bunch of different logos, right? First off was an Australian one, and they followed up with some more here, 6 more. And here we have a side-by-side as well by Zenith with Shopee and Foodpanda. I will say, looking at the Shopee one first, I didn't realize that there is that S is also the part of Shopee. I thought like, oh, what's Hoppy? But yeah, the Foodpanda one, Foodpanda goes hard though. Look at that. And of course, there's more here, like from Cresselia with Adobe Illustrator. There's just so many. Enso with Little Caesars. Look at the little, like, I think it's a laurel here. And this is, I think, Roman stuff or Greek stuff. It's the stuff you see on pillars. I'm not historically educated enough to talk about that, but I don't know. It looks cool. That's all that matters, right? And then you have some other shopping centers like Tesco here, or even PayPal. I like the tagline of "Give us your money," which I mean, it's true, right? It makes it feel a little bit less intimidating spending millions, or like not millions, but like thousands or hundreds of dollars on PayPal when it's a nice logo at least. Speaking of Elon Musk related stuff though, we have X here, which, I mean, it's an X, right? Even when you try and VTubify it and make it nice and pretty, it still looks so devoid of life, right? I don't think the current X logo is savable at all. Now, these all look really cool, really great. Now, you might be thinking, wow, I want to make one of myself, you know? Maybe I'm my own VTuber, or I want to make my own, like, cute logo. Well, somebody even made a little DIY kit, right? All you do is you download the Eureka UB font, and then add some stuff, and then bing, bang, boom, you got an annoying orange logo. Now, I will say it's probably a lot more difficult than that. I think the poster even says himself, you know, don't just use the same logo or the same font every single time, you know. You don't want to turn it into the Helvetica for VTubers, which I understand. And of course, it's more than just a font, right? They say just add bells and whistles. This is essentially that meme of how to draw a cat or an owl, I think it is, where you start off drawing a circle. That's the easy part. Then they say, now draw the rest of the cat. Like, for example, adding all the extra stuff here to the font. That's the hard part. But coming back around to shops, though, we have Walmart as well, which I found this very interesting because I guess Walmart has the reputation, right, that they have guns being sold there. Now, this one, I'm not too sure if Walmart would use this because I'm not too confident that having guns on a logo would be very good here. But I mean, hey, that's what they're known for, I guess. But speaking of guns in the logo, this leads me down to a very funny part here. So obviously, the big funny thing about this is the juxtaposition of these very corporate looking things with very cute logos. What if we go even further and go so off the deep end that we start giving literal weapon companies or like defense forces VTuber logos, like Northrop Grumman, which is apparently a military force? I don't know, I'm not too sure. Or how about Heckler & Koch? Again, I don't know. I think it's Heckler & Koch. I think it's a German company. I don't know. I'm not a gunhead. I don't know. You also have Lockheed Martin, which I'm a big fan of the exploding head emoji here, which is, I feel like a double entendre, like, oh wow, Lockheed Martin, cool, wow. Or it could be exploding head in of a different sorts, right? And then coming back up to that, there's more than just company logos. People decided to just make sort of just general motivational, I don't know if this is counted motivational, but just phrases like, don't talk to me, I'm angry, with the classic cat facing away from you. Or how about telling somebody to say, it's okay to give up, just surrender. But you can definitely see that as the trend progressed, people decided to get more and more wild with it. Like, it even came back around to Aisu Asai, the original creator, who decided, you know what, let's flip it around. Instead of taking those big and beautiful, colorful VTuber logos, what if we make them so null and void and take them back to what would it look like in a corporate aspect, right? So here we have Amelia Watson, who is also a VTuber from HoloLive, all corporatified, I guess if you could say it like that, right? Look at that. Solid text on a straight line, black background. Oh, doesn't it look so soulless compared to, by the way, this is what it originally looks like. Aisu Asai did like a whole bunch. Like, this is all of the logos that they did, right? And what better way to promote yourself? Because little did you know, but Aisu Asai is actually debuting as a VTuber this Saturday on the 27th, which is what a way to promote yourself, right? Again, it's a rare case of everybody winning here. This has been great publicity, not just for artists showing off their skills, but also the corporations themselves. Coming back to Icy's there, I don't know if you noticed it, but one of the logos they made was for Razer. This is coming off of Razer, of course, replying to that first tweet of Pizza Hut, saying, wow, it looks amazing. So Icy said, you know what? Hey, Razer, I see you. Let me make a logo for you. And then the chads themselves over at Razer follow up saying that they're going to send a gift over to Icy. I mean, what a great way as well, you know? You get a nice free promotion. I doubt they will use this logo because in my mind, I think using a new logo, it's a lot of effort, probably a lot of paperwork, right? But I mean, hey, free publicity. And then you get to show off that you're a nice company doing good things, you know? You're giving back to the people. It probably costs them nothing. Or at least costs them a lot less than what it would have taken to get that many impressions, right? From an actual regular tweet. And it wasn't just Razer. Somebody else asked Icy to do an Elgato one. And then lo and behold, there's an Elgato logo. With I don't know if this was done on purpose or not, but Icy was very smart to subtly hint and say, oh, teehee, I'm waiting for a Steam Deck sale, or Stream Deck sale rather. And lo and behold, once again, Elgato follows up saying, you know what? We got you. Don't worry. Check your DMs. Of course, again, those weren't the only ones. There's also an MSI gaming one. However, this is where I have to call them out a little bit. So, Aisu makes an MSI gaming one. It's even on explicit request of them asking for one, right? And I see no response tweet from MSI. There is one here that just says, wow, that's cool. They don't mention anything about checking your DMs. I'm just saying, you know, like, maybe they did it secretly. Maybe they didn't want to make it a public thing, you know. Razer did it. Elgato did it. And speaking of corporations, one of the other logos being done was here by Orihime for Opera GX, which is very funny because Opera GX actually have their own VTuber, Aura. And Aura herself was getting on the action as well by making a design for Heinz Ketchup. Heinz Ketchup, by the way, also decided to get in on the action and did say that 1,000 likes, they'll make it real. I will say again, it has more than 1,000 likes, but I'm gonna assume that it's very difficult to actually implement new logos and stuff like that. There's probably copyright stuff that has to go through. Likewise for OBS here, they tease and say, oh, teehee, should we make this our new logo? Of course, this is probably just making the tweet for visibility, right? I doubt that they would do this, but I am curious though, for stuff like OBS or any other application program on the computer, maybe you could implement like a splash screen that shows us. I don't know. There's probably somebody that can make a plugin or something like that, right? Somebody smarter than me. One of the coolest things though is probably this one here by somebody that did a DaVinci Resolve logo. For those of you who don't know, DaVinci Resolve is a video editing platform or video editing software, but they made a DaVinci Resolve logo within DaVinci Resolve, which is just kind of wild, right? I mean, again, probably an easier way to do this, but to do it within the application itself is kind of crazy. Again, much smarter people than I am out there. Speaking of people being smart though, it was bound to happen eventually, but this wormed its way over from big old multi-billion-dollar companies over to coding and like the code bros, the IT department, right? Here we have Visual Studio Code. But I do think the funniest part about this logo made here by iKori is actually, this isn't the only one they made. They made quite a few, and they are storing it in a GitHub repository. Because of course it's going to be in a GitHub repo, right? There's a whole bunch here in this repo, not just VS Code, but also PaperMC, Kubernetes, IntelliJ, Godot, Docker. I'm sad that I know what a lot of these are. It's very scary to think about, but yeah. iKori isn't the only one though, because there's also a Japanese person by the name of Saratsuki who also made a whole bunch of different sort of language base logos like Next.js, a whole bunch of React, Tailwind, Java. Look at all this stuff. Like there's a whole bunch. And of course, just like the other person, these are all hosted in a GitHub repository. Because again, of course they are. It's a tech bro, it's gonna be in a GitHub repo, right? These tech logos are probably the closest we're coming to actual implementation, right? None of the companies themselves change their logos, but you've got people printing out those exact logos made by Sabatsuki here and putting them on their laptop. I'm half tempted myself to print out a GitHub or a VS Code one, stick it on my work laptop. And in fact, just like some of those other big companies like the Razer or Elgato, not like MSI though, Sawaratsuki also received some nice gifts from VoiceMod for who they made a logo for. Like you can see there's the logo. They came back with a lifetime VoiceMod Pro license. So that's why I say this is probably one of the nicest trends to come out of YouTubing, right? It's a win-win situation all around. The companies get free promotion, the artists get free promotion of their portfolio, some of them even get gifts in return. It's great, right? Better than the old typical, oh my goodness, did you hear what somebody said about this other person? Oh no, which I mean, I guess it's not just restricted to just VTubers, but it's also live streamers in general. But I feel like it's kind of amplified within VTubers as well. Maybe because they can hide behind a model, they feel like they can, you know, fight back a bit more. They can say a bit more unhinged stuff. But I just saw this trend and I thought to myself, hey, what a rarity. Let me document this because it's not every day that VTubers are all so supportive and happy and friendly with no drama behind it whatsoever. But yeah, hopefully though you enjoyed this video. Until next time, bye bye.